Hola clase, these notes are a continuation to your indefinite notes. So right where you left off last time, after your last sentence, she ordered some or a few pineapples and leaving room for the Spanish. And of course skipping a line so everything's nice and neat. You're going to continue with this information. Be careful with your negative indefinites. We have some indefinite words that refer to a zero quantity or not having anything. Something to keep in mind, you cannot have plural of nothing or zero. If you don't understand what I'm saying, we'll get into examples and hopefully you'll understand later, but go ahead and write that down. Skip a line. More information, a negative indefinite can be placed before or after the verb. So it can be placed before or after the verb. It'll be placed before the verb if it's the subject. It'll be placed after the verb if it's an object, like a direct object. But if the negative indefinite is placed after the verb, you must use no or tampoco before the verb. That's a lot of information to digest. Again, if you don't understand it yet, that's fine. Go ahead and write it down. We'll be talking about it. And one more thing you should know, once you go negative in Spanish, you must stay negative. In English, they tell you you can't have double negatives, but in Spanish, not only are you allowed to, but they're encouraged. Double, triple, quadruple negatives are okay in Spanish. Once you go negative, you must stay negative. All right, here's all our info. We're going to practice with it and put it into play when we talk about these negative indefinites. Ningún, ninguno, or ninguna. Notice there are not plural options to these like there was with algún, alguno, algunos, algunas, because you can't have plural of nothing. So there are not plural versions of these. And ningún, ninguno, or ninguna can mean, depending on the sentence, no, none, not a single one, or not any. Therefore, please write down this example sentence in English. I don't see any grains on our shopping list. That might be something we say. I don't see any fruits, or well, we'd say fruit in English, on our shopping list. I don't see any vegetables on our shopping list. But we need to rephrase our thinking. Since you can't have plural of nothing, it'd be better if you thought of it this way. I don't see a single grain on our shopping list. So, not a single one. Not a single grain on our shopping list. Or maybe you would say, I don't see any. So, not any. Do not, any. So please write these down. Or we might say, I see no grain on our shopping list. I don't know if we'd say that exactly, but that's an option. Alright, I've already let the cat out of the bag over here because I didn't cover this up. But in this case, we are using no, none, not a single one, not any as an adjective because it's describing grain. Not any grains, not a single grain. So it's describing it, so think to yourself, what form of ningún, ninguno, or ninguna do I want? Go ahead and leave a blank line for your Spanish sentence. And let's look at this next one. I don't see any or a single one referring back to grain either. So I don't see any either. I just have one version of that in English, but there's going to be two different ways to write it in Spanish. You don't have to right now. Go ahead and leave lines for it. But I would like you to write down if you think when we're saying any, not a single one, if it's an adjective, adverb, or pronoun. Some things we need to talk about still pertaining to these notes are the following. Press pause if you're still writing. Continue on when you're ready. Okay, the words también and tampoco. I'm pretty sure you've seen the word también before because I'm pretty sure we've seen it together in Spanish 2A. I'm not sure if we've seen tampoco. I think it was a part of one exercise, but it's not something that I think you guys have ever had a specific lesson on. What I would like you to write down in your notes is just what también means and what tampoco means, and then go ahead and just put it all in parentheses because they're not technically indefinites. They're just words that we might use along with indefinites that you should understand, especially the tampoco because that is a part of our notes right here with the negative indefinites. So let's talk about these. You've got this written in your notes. Everything else I'm about to say next or show you next is just for your information. If you want to write it down because you like to be informed and you know you'll forget it and you'd like to know later, please write it down. Okay, so with también and tampoco, they are ways of agreeing with people or agreeing with a statement. También agrees with an affirmative statement. Tampoco agrees with a negative statement. If someone said to you right here, me gusta la pizza, they're telling you I like pizza, or literally, pizza is pleasing to me. And if you wanted to agree with that statement and say me too, you would say yo también. Me too, or me also. But what if someone said no me gusta la pizza? They are telling you I don't like pizza. And if you wanted to agree with this negative statement, because again, once you go negative, you have to stay negative, what you're saying is me neither. And in English we might say me either, but technically it should be neither. Once you go negative, stay negative. So you would say yo tampoco. To agree with this statement, I don't like pizza, you would have to say yo tampoco. Negative, negative. So tampoco means neither or not blank either. And that's just something you should be aware of as we continue on with your indefinites. That will help you with our example sentences here. I don't see a single one either, because it's don't. What you're really saying is neither. So just something to think about. Bring your questions with you to class. Thank you for taking your negative indefinite notes.